Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and there's the Tuesday CQ call. That means we're in the mood for a conversation, and we'll like to talk to anybody, but especially we want to talk with you. I'm Stan Houston. The program is Interesting Ideas, and a couple of things hit me as perhaps what we're going to talk about today. And this is from the Epic Times. I appreciate their new attempt at all kinds of balanced and very, you might say, traditional journalism. A quote from Carl Jung. Carl Jung. Nobody, as long as he moves about among the chaotic currents of life, is without trouble. Later on, a gentleman named Scott Peck wrote a book called The Road Less Traveled. And in the classic beginning of the book, he starts it with this three-word phrase: life is difficult. That's how the book began. And then in a really old book that I found, it's well over 100 years old, and someone said this. His name was Reverend Fox. He's kind of foxy. Life's disappointments are veiled love's appointments. Now, what do you think that means? Life's disappointments are veiled love's appointments. Well, maybe a little wisdom, insight, and truth that we need to think about. Interesting ideas. We're here to help you. That's right. We'd like to help you with some ideas, perhaps gain some greater insight, maybe become a person of influence, maybe actually be a contender. We'll talk about that. And perhaps increase your good income. Interesting ideas. We're talking about unmanageable lives today. That's a kind of a continuation from yesterday. Unmanageable lives, and perhaps it's a time to look for something new. I'm Stan Houston, and the program begins right now. Well, thank you for your time. By the way, we would appreciate you being a source of review and recommendations. And if you find this program helpful, I'd appreciate just drop me a note and tell me how I could better help you. And if you just want to say thank you, everybody would like a thank you from time to time. So stanhouston@gmail.com, stanhouston@gmail.com. And I would encourage you also, if you would, to perhaps, if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, to write a review. Give us a few stars. We would be grateful for that. Well, yesterday I talked about what I called the unmanageable life. And that caught a note with a number of people. And it's not because we want to throw up our hands and say, yep, we are unmanageable. We are living a non-managed life, but there are times when we feel like it, and sometimes when in the midst of all the chaotic currents that are going around, it's hard to feel a sense of any stability in things. And like I said, part of it is that we are now living in an always on-demand culture. We have very little time to just not be on call all the time for something. And that may be a part of the problem that we are having. So what I'd like to do today is just suggest something a little bit different and perhaps something new. Now, the unmanageable life was framed in the idea that, of course, in the 1930s, we had two movements that came about. First of all, Dale Carnegie said, hey, gain control of your life, win friends, influence people. And then also around that time, there was a movement that came out of New York City, Calvary Church in downtown New York City. Pastor Sam Shoemaker an organization that became Alcoholics Anonymous. Alcoholics Anonymous came into being, and that was an attempt to deal and be helpful to people who had unmanageable lives. They were in the throes of addiction. And so that was part of the theme, that there was a celebration of that movement, a celebration of the life of Pastor Sam Shoemaker, and the modern day interpreter said it was about unmanageable lives. Well, a couple things. First of all, let's simply suggest that if you're feeling a little bit that way, and if that's kind of where you are, and it is a little bit where I am, not because I lack purpose and direction, but I'm trying to put together some places and spaces and things that will make a difference in my life and business, but there are still many of them floating out there, and the things and the people and the places are not quite in place yet, so I have to really grit myself up and say, we can manage this, we can handle this. But let me just suggest that 12 steps that came out of the Alcoholics Anonymous. And I remember one young man who I really had the opportunity to help. I was actually working with his mother, who was a world-class insurance person, and she had a son that she was trying to bring into her business, and he had had some problems. And so the coaching kind of also was with mom, the boss, and with the son, who was the hope to be boss. And he was very helpful and useful to me in the sense that I learned how to deal with maybe younger people a little bit more on their level rather than with the older executives and entrepreneurs that I had worked with. And one day he came to me and said he had a gift. And I said, great, thank you. And I opened it up, and it was a copy of the Blue Book. The Blue Book. And you know, if you're anything about Alcoholics Anonymous, that is the book. That's it. That's where the 12 steps are outlined. And he said, I want you to have a copy of it because you kind of helped bring the book to life for me. Now think about that. You got a book. It's got good stuff. You can read the stuff. But sometimes just knowing it and reading it and seeing it is not enough. You have to have someone live it out with you. Just let that sit on your head for a while. You may not be able to do it yourself. So let's go back and out of the old AA. First of all, the first thing you have to confess is that you cannot handle it by yourself. You cannot handle it by yourself. You are going to need help. And then, one of the other great insights is there has to be something higher than you, a higher power. The AA was a spiritual discipline in the sense is you are not going to be able to do it with psychology and therapy and counseling and even perhaps the best of people to help you. You're going to have to delight in and depend on a higher power. And I know that in the people of the beginnings of the organization, that was a way of making the word God a little bit more acceptable and useful for those who still weren't there yet. Yeah, a higher power. And part of my job is perhaps to figure out what that might be. With that in mind, may I just simply suggest, as one of my friends and mentors said to me, he said, Stan, make sure that in your organizing and putting things together, try and see if you can discover something new. You've got lots of experience. You've got lots of ideas. You've got lots of things. You've done lots of stuff. Why don't you see if you can find, even at your advanced stage in life, something new? And so I'm just going to leave that with you too. All right? Could it be that if you're seeking to make 23 a better year, first of all, let's go to, all right, admit, I can't do it by myself. I'm going to have to find some help. And for those of us who are solo entrepreneurs and solopreneurs, perhaps a little bit of control freaks, perhaps maybe considerably workaholics, because we have to get it done and we have to get it right and it has to be perfect and it has to be really good. Please keep in mind, you may need some help. And secondly, maybe it really is a call to spiritual growth. That somehow you need to take what spirit is in your belief system and perhaps find out if there's something really there. That there is a force, a power, a personality, something unseen that can be of great guidance and help to you. All right? And then, number 3, something new. Try and look for something new. And I'll let that be your search for the week, something new. Well, that's it. However, as promised, we've been telling you how to quit your soul-sucking job so you can perhaps get a new job. So today I'm going to do episodes, we're going to do now. We're going to do episodes 7 and 8. 7 and 8 on how to quit your soul-sucking job and find something new. And that's going to start right now. There's something rather interesting about me. Has nothing to do with me. But if you actually go to Google or Yahoo or Bing or the search engines, and if you write in, at least I think this is still true, it was last time I checked, if you write in the words Stan, S-T-A-N, Husted, H-U-S-T-A-D, Stan Husted, hit the go, I come up number 1. I'm number 1 on Google for Stan Husted. It doesn't appear that there is anybody else, at least in any kind of contact that I can find out, that actually has my same name. Now, my wife's maiden name was Karen, still her name, but Johnson. Now, if you put in Karen Johnson, there are millions of people named Karen Johnson around the world, but I'm kind of the only one named Stan Husted that I can find. So that means all of my stuff comes up right away. My Facebook, my website, my YouTube channel, my LinkedIn, all of the things that make up, you got it, my platform. And today you have to start creating your own internet platform so that you can demonstrate not only what you do, but how good you are. Now, what I'm going to encourage you to do is start building your platform. By the way, you need to have a Facebook page that is much, much more professional. Oftentimes people have 2 Facebook pages. They have a professional one or a business one, and they have one that's rather social. No matter what, clean it up. Fundamental. Clean up your internet image. That's very, very vital. As some people say, they just finally take down their old Facebook account. There are too many stupid pictures, there's too many stupid remarks, there's too many stupid things that people have posted on there, and all of that's for the world to see. Now that may be fine if you're just an independent guy or gal who doesn't care, but you're out there trying to make your mark in the marketplace. So I want you to clean up your Facebook and make sure you have perhaps a professional Facebook page that is really professional and relational and a demonstration of how good you are. Get a LinkedIn account and make it good, and make sure there are videos on your LinkedIn account. Get your own YouTube channel. Now, by the way, all this stuff is free. Get your own YouTube channel and start putting up YouTubes in which you demonstrate how good you are and what you can do. Now, if you want more counsel on that, let me know. Obviously, you may want to see, okay, maybe you want to even do your own personal website. That's not a bad idea. I've also found that some people, they don't want to carry the business card of a company they hate, and so they simply have what used to be called an old-fashioned calling card. It was just very nicely your name and perhaps a one-word description of what you do, not the company you work for, and your contact information. It's just a contact. People want to know, how can I reach you? And you say, well, this is my card. This is your business. No, it's my calling card. It's how you can contact me. I have many opportunities and many interests, but this is the one card that I share, particularly with people, so they can contact with me. Now, all of that is creating a powerful internet platform for you. And so what I want you to do now is to take some time to think about how I'm going to make sure that when people Google me and when they find me, they find good and unique and helpful stuff. And that's vital. They're going to find that you are really a useful person to have around. And that's next, as we find out how we're going to make the leap to a better life and a better world, and we're going to quit that soul-sucking job. Well, we're rocking right along, and I hope right now that as you've taken time to take this class and course, that you're beginning to see that you will be able to be coming. It'll take a while for you to be in a position of confidence so that you can do just exactly what this class was all about, how to quit your soul-sucking job. Now, you may find Stan Houston comes up fairly soon on the Google, but also soon after that will be my daughter, and her name is Megan. And so if I can do a little fatherly self-promotion, Megan is a writer and an editor living in New York City, and she knew right off the bat what she wanted to do, and that was she wanted to go to New York and become a writer. And she wrote about that and all the things that she discovered in leaving Minneapolis, Minnesota, and going to New York City. You know, the proverbial. If you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. And then she went through a variety of jobs, and some of them were soul-sucking jobs, until she finally came to the position where she now has an ideal job. And as you'll discover, her ideal job is the one she has created herself. But it took her a while to get there. And one of the things that she did, and she hated the cover, but remember, whenever you write a book, you don't get to choose your own cover. In fact, it didn't work out too well, but the book sold well. And here's what it was called: How to Be Useful. How to be useful. And what she discovered as she made her way into the marketplace, particularly the tough marketplace of publishing and book writing and book selling in New York City and around the country, was that what you have to do is you have to figure out how to be useful to other people. They don't really care how clever you are, or how snarky you are, or how good looking you are. All of those things may be helpful and useful. But what is really useful is how well you are useful to others. Now, think about that. Again, on the story card, what can you do for others? That's what they're interested in. Not what you can do for you, or what you like to do, or what you love to do, or what your goals are. People who are going to employ you, pay you, compensate you, are primarily interested in what you can do for them. How can you be useful? Now, I don't know if you want to read that. You might find it useful. You may not. But the point is, the question is well taken. What you need to do is to be able to, at least in yourself, answer the question, how can I be useful to other people in ways that are also useful and helpful and enjoyable to me? That's the deal. How can you do things that are useful for others, that you enjoy doing, that give you a sense of usefulness and give you a sense of joy? Win, win, win. It's a win for you, it's a win for others, and it's a win for both of you and all of the people who know you. And there are people who have discovered that. They have found that. It's not a great majority of people. As I've discovered, maybe not everybody hates their soul-sucking job, but the majority of people don't particularly like the work they have. They may endure it, they may say it's okay, but deep in their spirits, deep in their honest selves, it's not something that gives them what they truly want out of life. And they have to spend 40, 50 hours every week doing something like that. Not you. Not anymore. We're not going to live that way to the rest of our life. We're not going to just be simply doing and putting in our time until we can finally quit and retire. That's not how to live. So, think about how to be useful. Final word coming up, and I'm just going to simply ask you to tap into those parts of your being and the being of the world that may actually help empower you even more to have the courage and the confidence to really quit that soul-sucking job. There we go. I hope that little story was helpful. Maybe that'll inspire you to do something new. Do it maybe even a new way. I'm Stan Houston. The program is Interesting Ideas. You can reach out to me at stanhouston@gmail.com, stanhouston@gmail.com. My performance coaching in terms of life and business is always open to you. We are also going to encourage you to learn how to use the modern media, how to reach out and be in contact with your ever-growing audience. Because all business is show business. And, of course, you have to have an audience if you want to be in business. And, in fact, you need to have an audience if you really want to make your mark in the world. And, by the way, that's what the word contender means. It means you matter. You're in contention. You matter. You can make a difference. You're a contender. Things can happen because of you. And why don't you view yourself, whatever you are a contender. Hey, best and blessings to all of us, to all of our families. And today, may today be something that is very useful, new, and special to you today. Till next time, bye for now.